Tell me your fascinating story, what you do, and how it all came about.
It all started at age 4. Woke up one morning to a voice that I call Spirit. And this voice talked to me just like someone else is talking to like you, or if you're hearing someone talk or you're talking to someone else. So it's in real time. The difference is with hearing this voice is that it's actually happening in that moment and it's real. So that morning I heard Spirit perfectly clear and heard Spirit all through the day. And then that evening at the dinner table with my family all sitting around, Spirit appeared. The first time I saw Spirit behind my grandmother, and then waved me out of my seat, asked me to come out of my seat. I came out, walked up to my grandmother, and then Spirit took my hand, put it on my grandmother's chest, and Spirit said, pronounce lung cancer. Say that grandmother has lung cancer, grandma has lung cancer. Took me a couple of tries, finally came out, and that's it. The dinner table kind of went kind of crazy. The family went kind of crazy. Everything was, forks, spoons, and knives were dropping everywhere. And that's how it all started. A few weeks later, they brought her in out of curiosity because it couldn't leave us. We couldn't forget about it. And she had lung cancer. So that's how it started. And from there on, I heard Spirit all the time. So I heard this voice perfectly clear. And what's interesting is I can actually physically block it. So it comes to my right ear mostly. And I can actually physically block it by putting my hand around my ear because it's coming from the outside. It's not coming from the inside. So someone might say, hey, are you channeling this? Or how's this voice coming to you? Is it inside your head? Are you thinking it? How's it going? It comes from an outside source. And as a child, I used it all the time, nonstop, with anybody with health issues, because the information came through anybody with a health problem or a health condition. For instance, in elementary school, I was sitting there in class, okay, and the student next to me was sitting next to me, and Spirit said that he had meningitis. So I told the teacher got alarmed, was all upset, interviewed the child to see when this meningitis was happening. A child never heard of the word before. And to the nurse's office, called the family. They never even heard about it. The child didn't have a symptom. Later that night, the child came down with 105 temperature, was diagnosed with meningitis in the hospital. And this is how it's always been. And that's just one of many things. It would be an every week kind of deal where someone else I would know is going on, or I'd bump into somebody, and it would always happen this way.
So when you say Spirit, what is Spirit to you?
I was told by Spirit that Spirit is the living word compassion. That's what I've been told. As soon as I was old enough to ask this voice that speaks to me from the outside of my body, from the outside, which I want to tell you something about that. Hearing Spirit from the outside means it doesn't matter if I'm cranky, doesn't matter if I'm sad, doesn't matter if I'm depressed about something, doesn't matter if I'm angry, doesn't matter if I had a hard day, doesn't matter what goes on, the information's going to come through all the time because it comes from an outside source. That's what I wanted to say. When people channel or they take information in or something's happening inside, anything can rock the boat that's happening in someone's life. And I love that because that's what I wish I had. I wish I had that so it can all turn off when you don't feel good. It can all turn off when you're tired. It can all turn off if you had a really hard time with something. But it doesn't happen. Spirit's going to always come through. Spirit told me since I was old enough to ask that Spirit's not an angel, because I thought Spirit was an angel. Spirit said never human, was never human before, was never, alive, but alive in a different way, as a word. Spirit says he is the living word compassion. And the word compassion has a life force up there in heaven. It has a life force up there in heaven. And that's all I got out of Spirit was that part. And then the other thing I got out of Spirit is compassion is the glue to love. It's the foundation to love. Love is weak without compassion. That's why we fall out of love. That's why we loved one thing and we don't love it anymore. That's why we love that favorite restaurant but fell out of love with it. We loved our favorite food and fell out of love with it. We loved our partner, we loved our soulmate, fell out of love, or vice versa, however it works, because compassion wasn't there. Once you bring in that compassion, it matters. What if you ate at your favorite restaurant but you didn't really like the owner anymore and you stopped eating there? Well, maybe if you had compassion, you still would probably eat there. It keeps it together. It's the bond. It literally is the everything. It's compassion. And that's what I've been taught by Spirit. Imagine someone always with you all the time talking to you, but it won't stop. It never stops. Like right here in this room right now, Spirit's telling me what's going on with you. Spirit's telling me what's going on with him. Spirit's telling me what's happening with him. And it just, I can't turn it off. It's one of those things. So growing up, it was really difficult. In fact, survival was imperative, really. So it was one of those things where you can't live your life. You can't do what everybody else is doing. When you know everything about your teacher in school, because Spirit's telling you, if you know everything about the people around you, and it doesn't end, and it keeps on going. So it was really difficult to grow up and get adjusted to it. I passed the time, I passed the hard times of it and got past and through it. So I stayed here, I stayed strong. It was difficult, and it was a type of torture. It was like I thought it was a curse, but it's a gift, and I just kept on persevering and pushing forward with it.
Have you ever seen Spirit again, or just
saw Spirit one more time when I was saving my drowning dog, in treacherous water, and Spirit appeared. That was the second time Spirit appeared.
How do we believe you? How do you convince the skeptics out there to believe you?
Well, skeptics are interesting. They're interesting because, first of all, they're skeptics about everything. Doesn't matter what it is, anything and everything. So the world's filled with them on every topic. So it all depends on how you look at it. Usually skeptics also have trust issues too. So that happens too. So I kind of view it as someone, maybe they have a trusting issue. Maybe they're not there yet in their life. And I could probably bet that they're skeptical about so many other things in their life and everything else around it. So I kind of, I see it as a place where, hey, look, they have some growth to do. I did, because I was born a skeptic. So I had to live in this body with this gift, hearing Spirit saying this can't be happening and this can't be true because it doesn't make sense, because born a skeptic and having it in my blood and not being able to shake that part of me, because when it's in you, it's there. And so I've had to go through this life saying, okay, I know I'm a skeptic myself, and I understand how people feel. They don't trust this, or they may have this going on, but hey, I understand it because I'm one of them. But I've learned to live with it, but as far as having someone believe it, it really doesn't matter to me, because people have always believed it. It's from my childhood, day one, all the way till now. So it's not really a concern.
It backs itself up.
That's the whole point. The information comes through. It's been proven time and time again. It's been tested time and time again. It's really not an issue. And I don't really run into too many skeptics, actually, to tell you the truth. I'm sure there's plenty of them out there. But, when you're in this, where you want to help people, you want to give them the answers, and people are suffering out there, and they got chronic illness, and the answers aren't out there. It's not about the skeptics. It's not about that. It's about the person getting better. It's about the person healing. It's about what they need. That's the focus. So I really don't focus on the skeptics.
So let's just dive into the chronic mystery illness epidemic and the real culprit behind the diseases.
Well, there's different culprits behind the illnesses and diseases and conditions we have today and the symptoms. But one big one is Epstein-Barr. Now, someone may say, hey, well, we knew about Epstein-Barr. So what's new about that? What's new about it is that I detail and outline from Spirit the information of what Epstein-Barr causes and what it does, because that information doesn't exist out there. First of all, I've been the first to bring it to the world that Epstein-Barr causes Hashimoto's thyroiditis. The inflammation of the thyroid is caused by that virus, specifically Epstein-Barr. That's number one. Number two, all the different symptoms I talk about, like tingles and numbness and brain fog, and the fatigue and the depression and different kinds of symptoms and neurological symptoms are caused by Epstein-Barr. Now, not all of the neurological symptoms that people have and suffer from, but a large part of it, because Epstein-Barr goes through different stages. So when you go to the doctor's office and they give you an Epstein-Barr test and they say, well, you had Epstein-Barr at one time in your life, you had an infection, that's only stage one. That was going all the way back. It runs through different stages. It leaves the bloodstream, and it causes Hashimoto's thyroiditis. It gets in the liver, causes the liver to get sluggish, causes the thyroid to be problematic, and then from there, it starts moving into neurological problems, all kinds of different symptoms, from spasms and twitches to the brain fog to the memory loss. All this is late Epstein-Barr, actually stage 4 Epstein-Barr. I'm bringing it to the world for the first time so people can move forward and heal. Well, you know, Epstein-Barr does something that Spirit has taught me that's interesting. It sits in the liver in everybody, so it sits in their liver. It causes hepatitis C later on, because hepatitis C is just a name for a condition. They don't know what causes it. It's just a name for a condition which you're getting scar tissue in the liver. So they call it hepatitis C. Epstein-Barr causes the scar tissue in the liver. It sits in the liver. A lot of other herpetic viruses do sit in the liver too, but Epstein-Barr is the cause of the diagnosis hepatitis C. What it does is it sits in the liver and it releases a toxin called a neurotoxin. That toxin floats around the body and starts to short circuit and inflame nerves. Some varieties of Epstein-Barr attach to nerves. So if you were someone that say you just had a baby, you just gave birth, and now your back is hurting, or it's because the back was stretched, the spine was moved when you delivered a baby, but new root hairs in the nerves were exposed. And if you happen to have Epstein-Barr available in the body that's around, it can inflame the back more. Same thing with a car accident. You can get into I've seen people get into fender benders where nothing happened. Like, it was just the slightest bump. Weeks later, they're sore everywhere, getting inflamed everywhere. Now they're at a doctor's office. Is it RA, rheumatoid arthritis? You know, you name it, they're in that game, but it was a case of Epstein-Barr. And the adrenaline from the accident, from just the fender bender, literally made that available too, because it rushed through the body and it helped feed the virus. So Epstein-Barr is a hungry virus. It likes to eat different things. It likes to eat adrenaline. It likes to eat eggs. It likes to eat dairy products. Anybody is dealing with anything where they're told they have autoimmune or a condition, get off of eggs, get off of dairy products. You know, try to keep the adrenaline down wherever you can, the best you can, but life throws us all kinds of different curves and we do what we have to do. But yeah, I mean, but the neurotoxin, as I was explaining, floats through the body, inflames the nerves, and that's where people get the tingles and numbness. That's where they get all kinds of different things. The vertigo is from an inflamed vagus nerve. All the people with Meniere's, vertigo, feeling like they're on a boat, feeling like they're not balanced, is caused by Epstein-Barr, the neurotoxin getting on the vagus nerve and causing that imbalance, causing that vertigo. Tinnitus in the ears are caused by Epstein-Barr. That's what causes that too. So you can have tinnitus, you can have vertigo, you can have it all. And this is simply Epstein-Barr for those.
And you say that, like, Lyme disease is misdiagnosed.
They actually diagnosed Lyme disease properly at the beginning. They knew it was viral. So they knew Lyme disease was viral. And virologists were on it and they were working on it. But they moved to bacterial later on because there was no treatment for Lyme disease early on. Once it's viral back in the 70s, there's no treatment. I mean, today we have a couple of different antivirals, pharmaceuticals that we have today that they're just really developing and working on. Back then, no treatment. So once the doctors realized that Lyme disease was viral originally, that was it. Can't do anything. There's nothing we can do. And that wasn't enough. So it moved on till later to be bacterial. But do you have 6 hours? Because we would have to go through Lyme and talk about it. Like, for instance, the bacteria is real. So Bartonella, Babesia, those are real. Borrelia is real. But there's also many dozens of other bacteria that they haven't singled out in people's bodies that are there. But these bacteria, along with Borrelia, along with Bartonella and Babesia, those aren't what's causing people's neurological part of Lyme, the neurological symptoms. So even if they have, say, Babesia, that could be causing other things. Say they have Borrelia, that can be causing other things, but not the neurological part. So Lyme disease is still in confusion as we speak. Neurological Lyme is caused by viruses, not bacteria, and it's caused by viruses in the herpetic family. So herpes viruses, HHV6, HHV7, Spirit talks about HHV10, 11, and 12 that don't exist yet. They're not on the radar. You'll see it come out down the road, and you're going to hear it first on this documentary. So the HHV6s, like I said, and so forth. The shingles viruses, Spirit documented over 30 varieties of shingles that cause neurological Lyme. And also there's different Epstein-Barrs. There's different varieties. Spirit brought for the first time ever, there's over 60 varieties of Epstein-Barr that we have, from severe to worse, different levels and strains that have mutated. And many of these strains cause multiple sclerosis, symptoms of MS, Lyme disease, neurological Lyme disease. So we're really in the dark ages right now with Lyme. We're in the dark ages with multiple sclerosis, and Spirit's bringing that information to the world. And that's what the book's about, and that's what I've been doing all these years. The body has the ability to heal. That, we have to have the faith in that. We have to have, the hope in that. We have to know what's going on. But a big part of the body healing is knowing what's really happening, though, too. So medically, medical research, medical science doesn't know what Epstein-Barr is doing right now to people and where the epidemic is. It's not just what they used to call the yuppies disease. It's not just that with a little fatigue and mono. It's way beyond that. It goes to different stages, and it's affecting people. That's what's happening. You got to remember, Hashimoto's thyroiditis is just an inflamed thyroid with no answers. They can't give you any answers. They don't exist. But the answer is Epstein-Barr inflames the thyroid. That's another stage of Epstein-Barr.
And then talk about, these chronic mystery illnesses. Doctors have labeled them autoimmune disorders.
Labeling an illness or a condition or a set of symptoms autoimmune is tragic. It's actually hurting people right now. Now, it's not the doctor's fault, so we can't say doctors because it's not their fault. It's really not much to do with the doctors. It's a misunderstanding that got into the feed, that got into the, into the swing of things. And when you say something's autoimmune, what we're saying is the body's destroying itself. So say you just went to the doctor's office and you were told you have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and you looked it up, or the doctor said, that's an autoimmune condition. And you kind of, what's that? And then the doctor said, or the nurse said, well, that means your body's attacking your own thyroid. Now, if that was me, I'd be in the car driving home, pretty upset. I would think, I just lost trust in my own body. My body's actually destroying itself right now. This is what we call a great mistake. Spirit has told me there's many great mistakes that have been made. When I mean great, because of the damage being done. Have you ever made a little mistake before?
Yes.
Right? Well, that's no big deal, right? A little mistake probably didn't hurt anybody, okay? People make mistakes every day, right? That's what they do. Yep. That's normal. I make mistakes, we all make mistakes. But a great mistake messes up and hurts a lot of people, injures a tremendous amount of people. In a way, that's why it's a great mistake. Autoimmune, one of the great mistakes. That's it right there. So when we think our body's destroying itself, when we think our body's attacking itself, think about the ramifications. Think about the implications that occur. Think about what can go wrong there. So the truth, the body never attacks itself. The body loves itself unconditionally, is working for you all the time, no matter what. It's there for you. It's not going to let you down. It's your best friend. The reason we call it autoimmune is because we don't know the cause of the symptoms or the disease or illness that's occurring. Look into psoriasis and eczema. Cause unknown. Multiple sclerosis, cause unknown. Fibromyalgia, cause unknown. Rheumatoid arthritis, cause unknown. So why is it possible, or how is it possible to actually tell someone it's autoimmune, your body's destroying itself, when the cause is unknown? It's a great mistake that hinders people. What's happening is there's a pathogen involved. There's something causing the problem, a toxin or a pathogen. It's causing the symptoms. The body is trying to protect you from it. But the body's getting inflammation from a pathogen. That's what autoimmune is. There's something in us, like a pathogen, that's causing inflammation. But just because medical research and medical science doesn't know what pathogen it is, or doesn't know what's causing it, or doesn't know how it's causing it, then we just blame it on the person's body. It's the blame game, the ultimate blame game. It's not the doctor that's doing it. This is different. And the doctor's like, well, we don't know what's wrong, so everybody kind of gets the gist that, hey, what's this autoimmune thing? That's what it must be. But it's the ultimate blame game. It blames your body. It's your fault. You're a bad person. Your body is bad just because medical research, medical science doesn't know what's causing your condition.
And they prescribe you immunosuppressants to help you feel better, and then they're just keeping you sick, essentially.
Yeah, well, they're prescribing meds to kind of calm things down, calm the pathogen's effect on the body. You know, which, hey, I mean, medications are important, you know, there's no question. Spirit's not anti-medication. I mean, they could really help people in crises. They can help people in all kinds of different ways, including antibiotics. But antibiotics are not good in Lyme disease, and we can talk about that a little bit more. But as far as autoimmune goes, it's one of the great mistakes. That's one of them. Another great mistake is genetics now. We got to be careful with that one. Once again, because we don't know what's causing the problem in someone, we're going to go after their genes. And we bite on it. We bite it. Hey, I'm biting. Everybody bites on it. Like, it must be that. We don't know the answer. It's bad genes. You got to look into medical history a little bit. We always thought we were advanced years ago. In all different time periods, we thought we were advanced, all the way from leeches, using leeches on people, or bleeding people, bloodletting, okay? We thought that was the most advanced information out there at the time, and no one could say different. We're still in the same position. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm talking about medical research, medical science, and chronic illness is what I'm talking about. We're stuck there. I'm not talking about heart surgery. We're moving leaps and bounds. I'm not talking about liver transplants. We're moving leaps and bounds. Medical science is amazing. They could take aneurysms out of people's brains with robots, incredible neurosurgeons, amazing surgeons. You break your leg, they could put it back together better than they ever did. In the old days, just wrap some twine around it, couple of boards, send you home, you probably died, okay? Your gallbladder explodes, you better believe you need a good surgeon. And you better need some painkillers too. The point is all that is advanced and moving forward. It still has somewhere to go. It still needs, we know we're still heading, you know, we need time. But in chronic illness, chronic and mystery illness, no way. Medical research, medical science is at a standstill. It really is. That's why for 70 years, women have been told they're lazy and they're crazy. They're lazy and they're crazy. That's why they're fatigued, or that's why they're tired, or that's why they have anxiety, because they're lazy or bored or crazy. That's what has been going on. We're still back in that time a lot. And now we got some fancier words. It's autoimmune. So you're not lazy anymore, but your body's destroying itself just because we don't know what's causing it. And then, if you think that's one great mistake, labels. Labels on illnesses are there to make us feel comfortable when we still don't know what's going on underneath. Like lupus. We get told we have lupus when there's really no real way of even diagnosing lupus, but yet we have a name for a set of symptoms. And tests like the anti-nuclear antigen test and the C-reactive protein tests, they just test for inflammation. But once again, what's causing the inflammation? Unknown. That's how far back we are. So we get labels: fibromyalgia, lupus, multiple sclerosis. We get all these different labels, but we don't know still what's causing anything. And just when we think that's it, there's a new thing going on. There's a new game. The new game is you might be manifesting your illness. You might be attracting it. It's a dangerous game to play. Now, it's cute and it's okay when it's about careers, and it's okay when it's about finding like your soulmate, finding your partner. You can manifest that. You can reach out and use that law of attraction to try to get that partner. But we can't play that game in chronic illness. dangerous. I've already seen younger people coming up hating themselves worse than ever because they think they created their autoimmune. They think they created their symptoms. They think that their body's destroying itself because they were the creator of that. So it's a whole nother new thing on the scene that's affecting the younger people especially. People, people in their 20s, they're like, wait a minute, this means that I created this disease. Actually, no, they're real causes for disease and illness and symptoms. There are real causes out there. Epstein-Barr is one of them. Right now, it's rampant among the younger people, different strains. 10% of the college students that go to college don't go back to college. They leave college not because they dropped out, because they're bedridden with fatigue. So that's another thing that's really we got to be careful with. But when it comes down to relationships, you want to attract the right soulmate. Yeah, you want to do that. Yeah, you want that man. You want to manifest a good life. You want to work hard on that. And you want to be positive. And you want to reach out and you want to hope for it and you want to have faith. But when it comes down to illness, we have to be cautious about that because it's sliding in to the chronic illness arena. And that needs to be removed out of that arena. There's reasons why people are sick. They're real reasons. And Spirit offers that.
Isn't it true that there's a mental, spiritual, emotional component to healing and being healthy?
Sure, but I've seen some real nasty people, miserable people, like be 90 years old, eat whatever they want, be terrible to siblings and loved ones. Have you ever seen anything like that?
Yeah.
You have, huh?
Yeah, smokers, drinkers.
Smokers,
assholes.
drinkers, cigars, yeah, you name it, being complete, being terrible to family members, doing terrible things to people, being just miserable people. And they make it. They make it. So that's not what it's all about. Of course you want to be positive. Of course you want to be, you don't want to be negative. You want to do your meditation. You want to do your yoga. You want all that. That's good for your health. And it does help you heal. I'm not saying that doesn't help you heal. It does. I'm just saying it's not what it's all about. There are people in their 80s that have been miserable their whole life. I had one person telling me there's been a guy on their street for 50 years just wreaking havoc on their street, causing just turmoil with their family, other families, guy's in perfect health. And he's in his 80s. What I'm trying to say is it's not everything. You want that, though. You want to take care of yourself. You want to meditate. You want to be healthy. You want to ride your bicycle. You want to take walks. You want to be in nature. You want to be swimming in the water. You want to do things, and you want to be positive. And guess what? That all does matter when you've been hit with a chronic illness and you're dealing with a pathogen, or you're dealing with Epstein-Barr, or you're dealing with, the Hashimoto's and all that. You want all the good stuff you can get in your life. You better believe it, because you need it to help you fight through it, to help push you forward. It's not everything, because like I said, it's what is in you. It's what's happening. It's what you have in you that can get you sicker than just being miserable.